A look into a book with Balanagendran, an excavation for eternal bliss.
Vanakkam, Vandanam, Namaste, Namaskar, good evening and welcome to A Look into a Book with Balanagendran, an excavation for eternal bliss on Radio Udaan of Light of Life. January 20th, 2015. A road to the milestone in your treasure hunt show. The time has begun as the tantalizing Tuesday strikes 9 p.m. Dear listeners, it's been an awesome journey since February 4th, Tuesday, where A Look into a Book has begun. Now we are on the edge to touch the horizon, the eternity, the destiny in 7 days. 50th episode is just a step away as we have entered into our 49th Look into a Book, an excavation for eternal bliss. As a part of this glorious moment, without a doubt, I have come with a glorious creation. Surely, the 60 minutes are going to be something for you. It's not going to be full of bliss. It's not going to be full of boost. It's not going to be full of boom. And it's not going to be full of beam. You're going to get everything. Horror, romanticism, fear, pain, agony, loss, grief. Everything you're going to get in this 60 minutes. This is the creation that makes the author to live for a long time. Released in the year 1847. And the author passed away at the age of 38. Not the age to pass away, surely. But her 38 years of life is heroic lasted for 1,000 years and will remain with the legacy of this creation. In 38 years, what she wanted to say, she has said in this creation. I mentioned a clue. She is. You can come to the conclusion with a simple calculation of what are the books released in the year 1847 that occupies the spotlight till date. Before everything, it's my duty to say, participate with us. You have the entries open. You can enter into www.radioudaan.com, radioudan.com, where you can submit your feedback, fill the forms to the shows in which you want to participate. You can lodge your grievances and redressal with regard to listening and with regard to Radio Udaan and its performance, whatever you feel. With regard to Radio Udaan, you can lodge there. We will adhere to you. Besides all, we have social media, Facebook, facebook.com/Radio Udaan, RADIO space UDAAN. Very simple. You can join there, and page and group will help you to collaborate with us and to associate in the astounding journey and in the airborne of your life from the world of stress to the world of bliss through Radio Udaan of Light of Life. Micromedia is also available. Hashtag Twitter, Radio Udaan, RADIOUDAAN. Besides all, we have Skype. I'm on Skype now. Skype me. Interact with me instantly. How do you feel? Better? Okay. Poor? Very poor? Are not needed. Whatever you want to feel, you can interact with me now. I'm on Skype. Skype ID is Radio Udaan, RADIOUDAAN, where there's no space. Note it down, RADIOUDAAN. through which you can interact with us. If you haven't added in your Skype, just add us. You will get tons and tons of benefit and bliss with all of us. Participate more, become the top 5 participant, and get the free entry into the maiden convention of Radio Udaan, for which the road ahead. Just a week and couple of days away to touch the milestone of first year of the grandiosity of Radio Udaan, for which the convention is going to be held at Ambedkar Bhavan, New Delhi on 31st January 2015. We all want you to participate. We all want you to stay with us, share, learn, fun, enjoy. Everything is available there. So participate and become the top 5 participants of Radio Udaan to get free entry into the convention. Moreover, as a New Year gift to all of you, we have opened YouTube as well. Now Radio Udaan is flying at YouTube. So just subscribe to the channel Radio Udaan RADIOUDA, and where you can get all the shows that are recorded, that are broadcasted and webcasted in the past. So don't worry, youtube.com/Radio Udaan is also available. Let's plunge ourselves into a look into a book, An Excavation for Eternal Bliss, with Bala Nagendran on Radio Udaan, a flight of life, on this tantalizing Tuesday, January 20, 2015, where we are going to dig deep down into the core of the Gothic fiction, social realism, as well as a romantic creation. Whenever there is a debate that erupts, what is love? I'm not talking about romantic love, love in general. What is love? Is it a need or a want? Most of us will choose a need. Love is a need. You need to love yourself to survive. You need to love the food you eat. You need to love the dress you wear. You need to love the face you look. You need to love the person with whom you want to share your life. You need to love the job through which you can gain satisfaction and earn more goodwill as well as financial enhancement. You need to love the place in which you live. You need to love the people whom you meet. Otherwise, the conversation will be ineffective. So, love is a need will be most of our choice. Is there anyone who can say love is a want? We can find some people as well. But in this creation, we are going to find love a blockade. Love has been a misery to this character, to the protagonist. And the author portrays the way she followed her childhood. Some of the facts that are given in the book talks about the author as well, says the critics who have given their write-ups after the author passed away. She has been honored posthumously many a times, but still none of the honor can fetch the thing that are brought by this creation, a Gothic fiction, social realism, and romanticism that confluences in the creation with the protagonist. Being divided into 3 volumes of 38 chapters with 29 characters, the book still stays in the minds of the people. I am sure it will not stop unless it sucks some saline water from your eyes. When you read, surely your eyes will find the tears dripping from your eyes, flowing down to the pages of the book. This is what meant for this book that we are going to look today on this 49th episode of A Look into a Book, An Excavation for Eternal Bliss.
नारायण सेवा संस्थान द्वारा संपूर्ण विश्व से आए हुए 80 से 100 पीड़ित असहाय निःशक्त बंधु बांधवों के प्रतिदिन निशुल्क ऑपरेशन किए जाते हैं, जो चारों हाथ पैरों पर चलकर आते हैं। वे शल्य चिकित्सा के बाद दोनों पैरों पर चलने लगते हैं। तन से समर्थ होने के बाद निःशक्त बंधुओं को आर्थिक रूप से समृद्ध करने के उद्देश्य से विभिन्न प्रकार के व्यावसायिक कोर्सेज जैसे कंप्यूटर प्रशिक्षण, सिलाई प्रशिक्षण, मोबाइल रिपेयरिंग प्रशिक्षण, प्लम्बिंग प्रशिक्षण, सुथारी प्रशिक्षण एवं इलेक्ट्रॉनिक उपकरण रिपेयरिंग प्रशिक्षण द्वारा प्रशिक्षित किया जाता है। तत्पश्चात उन्हें विभिन्न कंपनियों और संगठनों में जॉब दिलवाई जाती है। छोटा मोटा व्यवसाय खुलवाते हैं। वर्ष में 2 बार निशुल्क निशक्त सामूहिक विवाह समारोह आयोजित कर उन्हें सामाजिक रूप से भी समृद्ध बनाती हैं।
जी हाँ दोस्तों, मेरे यानी कि अपने दोस्त आरजे श्याम के साथ चलिए टेक्नोलॉजी के सफर टेक सिटी पर, जहां होंगी बातें मोबाइल्स की और होंगी बातें कंप्यूटर्स की। तो मेरे यानी कि अपने दोस्त आरजे श्याम के साथ सुनना न भूलिएगा हर बुधवार रात 8 बजे रेडियो उड़ान पर टेक सिटी।
एक मंच जहां मिलती है महत्वपूर्ण जानकारियां,
सवाल हो और जवाब दूं।
एक मंच जहां होते हैं हंसी और ठहाके।
वाह।
एक मंच जहां होती हैं चर्चाएं।
दूसरी वाली आपको नहीं समर्पित करूंगा।
नहीं कीजिए, बड़े स्पोर्टिंग।
आप पहले सुन लीजिए, उसके बाद कहिएगा आपको चाहिए समर्पण कि नहीं चाहिए।
एक मंच जहां मिलेगा लोकप्रिय संगीत।
और इन सब के बीच एक ऐसा मंच जहां मिलता है सब कुछ। लॉग ऑन कीजिए www.radioudan.com और जुड़ जाइए हमारे साथ।
A look into a book with Bala Nagendran, an excavation for eternal bliss.
Yes, friends, Gothic fiction, social realism, and Bildungsroman, another genre through which the book has been written. Gothic fiction is nothing but a fictional creation coupled with horror and romanticism that talks about the characters in a realistic way. We can call this book as a satirical as well, as it portrayed the misery of a woman, of a character, from the childhood till the adulthood. What are the negligence that a woman face in their life? But the author portrays in a different way. On one hand, she has been uplifted. On the other hand, she has been dumped deep down into the ground with the same head. On one hand, she has been grown, developed, and on the other hand, she has been put down. On one hand, she has been protected, and on the other hand, conversely, she has been hunted down. This is what the book says as the author Charlotte Bronte and her famous creation, Jane Eyre. Jane Eyre, E-Y-R-E, Eyre. We used to call this as Jane Eyre, but it's Jane Eyre, written by Charlotte Bronte, released in the year 1947, a creation that talks about an orphaned child that turned into a pool of misery. Finally, how things turns. Adopted and guardianed by their own relatives, betrayed by them, thrown out of the house, going into an orphanage, thrown out of there as well, meeting and finding a job, trading even a handkerchief for a meal, one-time meal. To earn a food, she has traded her handkerchief as well. Went till the edge of death, embracing death, saved by few, accepted, then felt the romanticism flowing in. Everything is going to be mentioned in this book, Jane Eyre, by Charlotte Bronte. Now, author's introduction. Actually, the author's introduction need not be this much big, because we all know who is Charlotte Bronte because of Jane Eyre. Born in the year 1817 at Thornfield, United Kingdom, she has been grown in a family of Bronte and Neabrill. She had 5 sisters, out of which 2 died early when they were born in the year 1814 and 1815, died in the year 1825 because of the typhus, a disease. That same typhus disease is used in the book. So the author somewhat gone closer to her life, and without turning the book as an autobiography or something of self-descriptive bundle of paperwork, she has made this her masterpiece. When she had lost her 2 siblings, the 3, Marian, Anne, and Charlotte, have begun to write. They have written poems, they have written a satirical creation as well, in the name of a new country called Angry. That has also been appreciated, and unfortunately hasn't been completed because of the sudden pass away of Charlotte Bronte in 1855. However, the book has been completed in 2 parts with 2 authors, one in 2000 and another one in 2003. We can imagine the impact that the author has created in this book that talks about Angry. But the book that we are going to talk about is the debut, released in 1847. However, her debut creation, The Professor, hasn't been released as a first creation. Jane Eyre has been released as her first creation. The Professor has been released posthumously, which means after her death. So, Jane Eyre, what it speaks. Jane, the protagonist. Charlotte Bronte begins by considering herself in the shoes of Jane. A young kid lost her parents because of the typhus disease. This is where the author used the disease that she faced. Her parents suffered, her siblings suffered. Finally, she herself has been suspected that she might have passed away because of typhus. However, there is a speculation that she has passed away because of the hepatitis or tuberculosis, or because of the continuous nauseating effect due to her pregnancy. It needs to be mentioned here that in the year 1854, the author got married, that too at the age of 37, after undergoing acceptance and proposals. Everything is mentioned in Jane Eyre as well, but with a new character called Jane, Jane, Jane. When she was pregnant, she felt her physical condition deteriorating in a rapid pace. In the year 1855, 31st March, she has left the world with her unborn child. The 38 years of her legacy is completely visible through this creation, the creation that still stands as a landmark. Even George Orwell and various authors are appreciating her by saying the first historian of private consciousnesses. The first historian of private consciousnesses is the greatest honor that Charlotte Bronte has received through Jane Eyre. Jane Eyre is surely the creation that all of us has to read. The 38 chapters, beginning from the Jane's childhood, and when she has taken into Mrs. Reed, the Gateway sisters' guardianship, when she has been put into the single room, red-colored room where her uncle committed suicide, where she has met the horrors, where she has faced the satanic feelings, when she has been thrown out of the house, when she has gone into the Louisville school, the orphanage, when she has been thrown out there as well, and joining in the Thornfield school as a teacher, and losing the job, trading handkerchief, suffering in poverty, laying in the street, dying to get a one-time meal, and finally finding the partners, accepting proposals, rejecting, and meeting the people and the lives in between, suffering with grief due to the loss of one great friend in the orphanage, who always considered the life through philosophy and who always believes everything happens to the human being and to the world is because of the mercy of God. If you are dead, that too because of the mercy of God. The character occupied Jane to the fullest. We all are going to see this in our show. I look into a book how the author has mentioned and what are the things that attracted me the most, because as I said earlier in a couple of shows, this is a treasure hunt that I am presenting to you through the book that I read, the book that I liked, the book that deeply ingrained in my blood. In that alignment, Jane Eyre occupies number of cells in my blood and causes number of flows that still haunts as well as hovers over me towards my eternal bliss. The natural creation of Jane. Preface. The author begins, I quote, "It is simply interesting to write the preface to a first edition of a book. However, there is a necessity to acknowledge the contributions of few people through a specific miscellaneous purposes. Jane Eyre is going to be the creation that we are going to cherish forever," says New York Times. According to Washington Post, Jane Eyre is still the conscience of the mass. Chapter 1 begins where Jane is shown as losing her parents and moving towards the guardian, her uncle's wife, Mrs. Reed, the gateways, where she has been met by her cousins who are also jealousy and who are also abusing her. What are the physical and verbal abuses that she has found? The verbal and physical abuses mentioned in the book will surely attract you. Attract you in the sense it will make you sit and surrender yourself in the pages of the book. Somewhat 400 pages of Jane Eyre will surely make you to feel the ferventness that erupts, the bile that raises to your throat, the experience that you will get because of Jane Eyre you can't get in any other creation. That's what Charlotte Bronte. That's what the creation of Gothic and social realism. That's what the society treats. That's how still the society performs in front of the vulnerable and the underprivileged. That's what the society accepts and understands the civilization of mankind, the civilization of human beings, and the force of civilization is determined through family background. The persons without family, the souls without love, and the human beings without someone to take care of are considered as the bunch of mass that is prone to vulnerability, exploitation, abuse, as well as finally to societal massacre. Jane Eyre says everything. What it says. What are the things that Jane received? We need to sit and read to know. What do you feel when you are given a bread but not sufficient enough? The most brutal thing in the planet that one could do to another is forbidding someone their food. Food, clothes, and shelter, we can say the basic necessities. The necessities that none should deny to another. But what is the impact that could cause if we deny food to someone? The legitimate food that they deserve. That has happened to Jane. What will be the position when you are surrounded by four walls in a dark, red-coated room, the room that has been considered as the place where someone lived or dead. How do we feel when we are locked up? In terms of the disabled, we can say that still haunts the society. The parents of the disabled in many areas, many regions, there is no specificity of the countries where they have been locked inside the room with the prejudice of them being treated by the outer world in the most negative and negligible way. However, the reality can't be hidden. That's what been proved. Either the disabled or the non-disabled or the orphaned. Jane Eyre is a landmark that will make all of us understand how a human soul suffers, how to find the human soul's sufferings. The conversation between the Jane and the close friend Ellen in the orphanage or the Luo school is a great, exciting, at the same time emotional scene of the book. Read it. While reading, don't go anywhere. Sit and read like you are reading or pronouncing some verses of religion. There's conversation and the philosophical, practical approach of both Jane and Helen in the Luo school. The second part, we can say. The first part covers chapter 1 to 15. The second part from chapter 16 to 26. And the third part from chapter 27 to 38. Charlotte Bronte's Jane Eyre occupies the spotlight through the 38 chapters. What are the things after the school? From the introduction, the Luo school, from the Thornfield, what are the things have happened? Illustrations are awaiting for you in a look into a book with Bala Nagendran, an excavation for eternal bliss. Today we are traveling with Charlotte Bronte's Jane Eyre. A look into a book.
रेडियो उड़ान सुन रहे सभी मित्रों को मेरा प्यार भरा नमस्कार। मेरा नाम मधु सिंघल है। मैं बेंगलोर में कार्यरत संस्था मित्र ज्योति, जो पिछले 25 वर्षों से दृष्टिहीनों एवं दूसरे विकलांग व्यक्तियों के लिए कार्यरत है, उसकी मैनेजिंग ट्रस्टी हूँ। इस संस्था की गतिविधियाँ इस प्रकार हैं। यहाँ पर दृष्टिहीनों के लिए ऑडियो में पुस्तकें रिकॉर्ड की जाती हैं। इसके साथ साथ ब्रेल में और स्कैन्ड पुस्तकें भी उनको दी जा रही हैं। कंप्यूटर प्रशिक्षण और रोजगार की सुविधाएं भी यहाँ प्रदान की जा रही हैं। दृष्टिहीन महिलाओं के लिए एक विशेष प्रकार का कोर्स चलाया जाता है, जिसमें उन्हें आत्मनिर्भर बनकर जीवन में आगे बढ़ने की क्षमता प्रदान की जा रही है। आप मित्र ज्योति से संपर्क कर सकते हैं। यहाँ का फोन नंबर है 08022587623 और 22587625। ईमेल एड्रेस है admin.office@mitrajyoti.org। वेबसाइट है www.mitrajyoti.org।
Words, words, words. Let's sing in the ocean of words and explore its origin, meaning, usage, and many other known and unknown facts about it. Let's sail in the world of magical words and travel far with entertainment. To listen, Ocean of Words. Every Wednesday from 10 to 11 p.m. log on www.radioudaan.com.
प्रतिभा की पहचान,
प्रज्ञा की मुस्कान,
सबलांगों का साथी, ये है रेडियो उड़ान।
रेडियो उड़ान के प्रोग्राम्स की जानकारी के लिए, शोज में पार्टिसिपेट करने के लिए, किसी भी शो को फीडबैक देने के लिए, आर्काइव रिक्वेस्ट करने के लिए, आरजे बनने के लिए और अपने फेवरेट आरजेस की प्रोफाइल्स पढ़ने के लिए लॉग ऑन करें www.radioudan.com, स्काइप आईडी रेडियो उड़ान, ईमेल mail@radioudan.com। रेडियो उड़ान, अ फ्लाइट ऑफ लाइफ।
A look into a book with Balanagendran, an excavation for eternal bliss.
As we all found Jane into the Red Room, she sees and visualizes the horror that haunts her. Some faces coming, looking deep down into her eyes when she sleeps. There is no finding the difference between the day and the night and the light and the dark. Everything seems unison. Things have turned. After a few moments, Mrs. Reed, the guardian or the aunt to Jane, has made her to go and join in Lowood schools. The school, which is thin, which is nothing but a pool of people into the cold floor with thin dresses and poor sanitation. This is what the Lowood, and she finds herself in the harsh portion of her life. She concludes that life is full of harsh, life is full of unfair. She tried her best to befit herself with the life's course. However, the practicality that still haunted her to accept what has come to her. That's where she has found the friend Helen Burns. Helen Burns' conversation with Jane, as I said, must be read with full attention, with attentiveness. This book is not for those who want to do tentative reading, and the book is not for those who want to just juggle and just do something of a filibuster or something infer to pass your time as a fig leaf. But this book is something, a scripture, a texture, a context of cocoon. The coziness that you can feel after reading the book, you will feel that you are blessed enough when compared to the character Jane. Though it's fiction, whenever we read the fiction, the author's capability is to make us feel that we are part of this environment, the part of the circumstance, we are part of the heroic character, and part of the protagonist, and part of a book to the core. That's what Charlotte Bronte has done without a tint of failure. With 100% caution, we will enter into the world of Jane and to the harshness of her life and to the unfair gifts that she received from life and the way she tried to befit herself with her life and the way she has been consoled by Helen Burns, her friend Helen Burns, through which she has accepted life in a philosophical way. Philosophy can be considered as a compromising thing that we can say a peel without banana, that most of them used to say. It will look like a banana, but it's only a peel. You won't find anything, but peel has some nutrition as well. It is civilized to say we can't eat the peel of the banana. However, it is nutritious. That's what philosophy is meant for. Philosophy is understood in this way. Philosophy is a thing that is blindfolded, says many people. The way Helen Burns accepted the life, and she accepted the punishment caused to her. The way she has been made to be an orphan in her life is the punishment from God because of the mercy of the God. Even the punishment of God is at the mercy of the God. That's what the philosophy that she renders to Jane as well as to all of us. Then things have gone well. In between, when the inspection is taking place, the brothels has come. That's where she has found herself breaking the slate, for which she has been reprimanded, and the way she has been made to stood up on the bench or on the chair and to make herself shame and to feel apologetic and to be reprimanded is a most curious, crystal clear portrayal of Charlotte Bronte that deserves nothing but heartfelt appreciation and honor. While writing, you can feel all of us while studying in the school in one way or the other, in one day or the another, we must have stood on the bench for committing some wrong things. But in an orphanage where the children who are already betrayed by the society, by the parents, by the environment, by the circumstances, when Jane is in the world, that's what happened to her. She has learned, she has been educated, she's been learned. At the meantime, the inspector wants to send her out of the world. However, where there is some harsh things, there will be some good things as well as the life goes. That's what the course of the stream of life. Miss Temple, the in charge of the world, has consoled the inspector and the in charge and the head and made Jane to be admitted, continued. And she left after the death of Helen's. The death of Helen's on the lap of Jane due to the disease, tuberculosis or typhus, we can say. The way she accepted at the time of death, while hitting the bed with the death, she said, I am going where God belongs, and the call has come, will surely make all of us feel something in our mind which we haven't felt before. Charlotte Bronte's efforts, skills, the tenacity to say things in the most clarified way, the most claritative way, and the most qualitative way can be found when Helen is on the death row. In Leawood School, many incidents we can say, as I am focusing more towards that school. Why? There's a reason. From the introduction till the school, when she leaves to Thornfield to find some job, and that's where she suffers the most. But the introduction and the school scenes needs to be, perhaps it is not good to say scenes, the chapters that talks about schools need to be focused, because that talks about many social issues. The author stands critical. The author has written with a critical view of the social blockades, social obstacles, social problems, and the social vendettas to the underprivileged or to the so-called vulnerable group. This is where we have to feel the author's clarity. If we can find the same which is prevalent in the society now itself, then we need not say how it would have been, how it had been in the years of 18th and 19th centuries, where the world is torn into pieces because of the desire to imperial and colonial hunger, as well as the poor health and sanitation which are more prevalent in all over the world during those centuries. That's where Charlotte stands the best. The way Helen death and finally Jane has been sent out of the Leawood and she has come to Thornfield. The way she has come to Thornfield is the most grotesque portrayal. Perhaps it's the most ravenous thing that will make all of us feel terrible, exhausted, bruised, tired, sick. And she finally finds herself in the urgent want of food. She has tried to enter into River's family, where the housekeepers are sending her out. That scene also good. That position where the housekeepers are sending her out, how the author is writing. First and foremost, we need to mention, besides all this, that the book is completely written in a first person's point of view, which means I myself saying everything that happens to me. First person's perspective, which is more or less not been in practice nowadays. Nowadays, authors are following the third person's perspective, as the author stands as a computer or the master of storytelling, and the events will flow around his story, the way he portrays. But Jane Eyre and the Charlotte Bronte as followed the first person's point of view. So you will directly speak to Jane, and Jane will directly inform what are all the things that are happening to her and how she feels, how she is experiencing, and how she is able to bear such brutalities of the society, and well as the betrayal of the own relatives, including the cousins. Kindly read the position from the introduction to the Lowood School without any motion, or even I can say you must read those two parts in a single breath. You will get the sensation of being blessed. Thornfield, other employment, proposals. These are the major portions of the book. Thornfield, other employments and proposals. What are other employments? What about proposals? How she feels. Has she fallen in love? Yes, she fallen in love. As love is there for everybody. Jane also fall in love. How? What happened in between? Suddenly another twist has happened. Someone loved Jane. The unexpected hit to Jane's life. What happened? We will look all into this in a look into a book today with Bala Nagendran, An Excavation for Eternal Bliss, with the help of Charlotte Bronte's Jane Eyre on Radio Udaan, A Flight of Life.
Hello.
Hey, what about your exam?
Oh, what can I say? I'm flunked once again. This reasoning section is hurting a lot. I don't know what to do.
I have a good news for you. Hold on and listen to the script.
2 plus 1 is equal to 3. 3 plus 4 is equal to 21. 5 plus 6 is equal to 55. Then 4 plus 8 is equal to what? What comes once in a year, twice in a week?
जी हाँ फ्रेंड्स, हम आपके लिए लाए हैं एक बहुत ही मजेदार शो जिसका नाम है मिसेस कंफ्यूजन, जो कि आपकी कंफ्यूजन क्रिएट भी करेंगी और उसे सॉल्व भी करेंगी। सो सुनना ना भूलिए मिसेस कंफ्यूजन, अ शो ऑन रीजनिंग, एवरी संडे 10 PM to 11 PM only on Radio Udaan.
रेडियो उड़ान कन्वेंशन 2015।
मकसद आप सबसे मिलने का।
रेडियो उड़ान कन्वेंशन 2015,
जहां होंगी पोइट्री, प्ले, सिंगिंग, प्रेजेंटेशन और मच मोर।
So what are you waiting for? जल्दी से रजिस्टर करें हमारी वेबसाइट www.radioudan.com पर और बने पार्ट 2015 रेडियो उड़ान कन्वेंशन का।
आप सुन रहे हैं रेडियो उड़ान, द फ्लाइट ऑफ लाइफ, world's number one internet radio station of its own kind. सुनते रहिए और एंजॉय कीजिए रेडियो उड़ान।
A look into a book with Bala Nagendran, An Excavation for Eternal Bliss.
Minutes remaining on the clock to review and to look deep down to the core of Charlotte Bronte's Jane Eyre. Let's move to Thornfield with Jane. As she passed her 6 years of teaching as well as learning as a student come a teacher, she has been sent to Thornfield with the help of the in-charge as well as the well-wisher of Jane at the Lowood School, Miss Temple. She has been put in to Thornfield through a path. One night when she was walking on the street, she has found a horse steering towards her, and the horse passes away. Suddenly, the man who is on the horse fallen down. By helping him, even without considering his surliness, Jane made him to aboard on the horse, and made him to go. Then she found that it is none other than the Edward Rochester. Edward Rochester is one of the main characters of this creation. We must know about Edward Rochester because Edward Rochester is the one who fulfills Jane's life. Jane's betrayed, Jane's unfair, Jane's harsh life has been fulfilled by Edward Rochester. This is where the horror has been mingled with romanticism as Jane feels something in herself which she hasn't felt before. This is where she has found herself at the Thornfield about Edward Rochester. When they have met for the first time, I mean, this is not about the horse incident. After she sent him through the horse, when they have met for the first time, Edward Rochester was acting that because of her bewitching the horse made him to fall down onto the ground. This is where Edward Rochester has pretended himself to be against Jane, but Jane has found the secret. Hence, things have turned something interesting and the romanticism began to flow between both, where Jane began to feel the best blissful feeling on the planet, love flowing in her. The way author explains, the way love hurts, the way love makes us feel the bliss. Everything in this book need to be cherished. Everything mentioned in this book need to be worshipped. Everything mentioned in Jane Eyre needs to be adhered to, need to be understood, need to be remembered forever. Even we can say these books are meant to be read not only once, twice, thrice, or for infinite amount of time according to the interest. I have read this book thrice, then you can imagine how many times you can read Jane Eyre. Jane Eyre surely the greatest creation that a mankind could ever witness, that talks about social issues in a fictional way. While she is in the Thornfield working with Edward Rochester, she has received a message about Mrs. Reed at the Gateway Steps. Her aunt suffered a stroke. After her son, John, the cousin, passed away few months ago. When she returned to Mrs. Reed were hitting the deathbed, and she confessed what are the more betrayal that she has done to Jane. She has told to the guardian of Jane's property, her uncle, Jane's uncle, Mr. Reed, or Mrs. Reed's partner, that Jane has passed away when she was at Lowood School due to a disease. The wrong information made everything worse for her life. The betrayal that she has done put Jane into jeopardy. The jeopardization of Mrs. Reed is purely explained by Charlotte. She confessed, and by forgiving everything, Jane worked for her for months, and she passed away afterwards. She returned to Thornfield again. The Thornfield part is where the romanticism, as we have said, begins. Then other employments. In other employment, while reading about that, that's where we can find the way she struggled while passing the region to region, place to place, to find a job. She lost all her possessions in another way, in a mishap, and she has nothing in her hand except a few penny. When she found sleeping on the moor, walking on the street without a food, she got exhausted, tired, sick, hungry, and she even failed in training the handkerchief and the gloves. See the position of the people. This is a symbolic gesture of how people living below poverty or poverty could do when they want to have a one-time meal. This is what the mentioning of the author that attracted more people in the world. Even New York Times writes about New York still lost Jane Eyre and the sceneries that it portrayed under other employments, where Jane moved from the Thornfield and on the path to meet the Mary and the Diana Rivers family. That's why she has been rejected by the Diana and the Rivers, Mary housekeepers, and suddenly she fell into the street. She fell into the street and slept with hunger. She was on the road to death, with indispensable death is waiting to embrace her to the fullest. At the same time, another hands held her. What happened afterwards? Edward Rochester, where has he gone? Has he accepted the love that flows in Jane? Stay tuned to listen to A Look into a Book, an excavation for eternal bliss.
कहानी नहीं हो या हो पुरानी, हर फिल्म की कहानी सुनिए आरजे निकिता की जुबानी। मैं आपके लिए लेकर आ रही हूँ फिल्मी बाइस्कोप, जहाँ होगा एक्शन, रोमांस, म्यूजिक, इमोशंस। एवरी सैटरडे 8 to 9 p.m. only on Radio Udaan, a flight of life.
You are listening to Radio Udaan, Radio Udaan, Radio Udaan, a flight of life. For more information, log on to www.radioudaan.com. Happy listening.
A Look into a Book with Balanagendran, an excavation for eternal bliss.
This is where the author handled the character with blindness. How the character of an orphan is being handled, the character with blindness is also handled by Charlotte in the most beautiful way. While reading, you can find how a person with blindness reacts, how the person with blindness feels, and how a person with blindness feels when someone accepted to marry that fellow and someone says that they won't live with him. This is what Charlotte. Jane Eyre occupies the top list when you search, when you do something research of books that are example for disability discourse. Disability discourse, when you speak about, which is something philosophical and something political as well as something out of fiction, that Jane Eyre occupies in that discourse. Because when she began to turn away Saint John's, the person who saved her from the hunger, and the person who helped her in many ways, proposed her, which is unexpected. He said to Jane that he wanted to establish a missionary in India, so Jane and him has to go to India to establish a missionary. Jane accepted that they would go as brothers and sisters, not as partners. Suddenly she heard a mysterious voice calling her name, and she went to Thornfield again. In Thornfield she has found that another shocking event, which is nothing but her beloved Edward Rochester has got married and his house got fired while his wife committed suicide. 3 attacks at the same time. And she found himself losing one hand and eyesight because of the fire accident. Even before, there was an event in the book about Thornfield where Jane saved Rochester not once but twice, second time from the fire. The same couldn't happen. Rochester lost his eyesight. Then Jane stood with him and Jane prepared him, Jane taken care of him, where she proposed again and they have accepted. However, there has been a sudden disruption in the marriage. The lawyers of the Rochester's wives have stopped the marriage. Then what happened? What St. John's has done, what Nichols has done, what happened finally, whether Rochester and Jane are married together, whether finally, after undergoing all the hardship, all the defiance, all the disobedience of life, all the brutalities and the ruthlessness of the society, has the pair reunion, or has the pair joined hands to lead a lovable life, is what the end of Jane Eyre. So listener, find it, read it, and surely you will cherish it. It will deeply ingrain in your blood. It will be ingrained. You will feel the enhancement and the essence as well as the quintessence of yourself while comparing yourself with Jane. This is what Jane Eyre, this is what Charles Bronte. This is me, Balanagin, with that note saying bye-bye, and don't miss next week's 50th episode where all of you are going to speak with me on air. We are going to speak together. We are going to celebrate the 50th episode. You are going to speak with me your favorite book for a few minutes. You are going to speak with me on air, and people from all over 100 countries are going to listen to your favorite book as they are listening to my favorite books. So, be ready to speak with me on Jan 27, 2015 at the auspicious location of a look into a book, An Excavation for Eternal Bliss. Till then, this is me, Balanagin, saying take care of yourself if possible, take care of others as well. Don't forget to read Jane Eyre. Good night. Let's see this.
A look into a book with Balanagendran, an excavation for eternal bliss.